Robert, she's back on the land. Let's get this cracking. About to be Skype ape in the Northgate, man.
And the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under.
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lesson.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Hey, y'all, while we giving Rod time to get in here, we're going to run this clip for you. We got to run this. Hey, Robert, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, y'all.
Our tribe, the Yamasee Native Americans, have just been confirmed with federal full recognition. Right? It was done this year. In fact, in South Carolina, with one of the strong ones. That's the Muskogee tribe, which is linked to us.
Okay.
And I don't know if Deborah mentioned to you that as my name York relates back to Ben York of Lewis and Clark. And that I'm a full-blooded, Yamasee chief. We call it Mika. That's the Creek word of the Native Americans, and it's chief. And so they're also filing that because on June 23rd, I think, back in 2003, the judge allowed me to speak before the. You know that happened.
Yes.
Our tribe, the Yamasee Native Americans, have just been confirmed with federal full recognition. Right? It was done this year. In fact, in South Carolina, with one of the strong ones. That's the Muskogee tribe, which is linked to us.
Okay.
And I don't know if Deborah mentioned to you that as my name York relates back to Ben York of Lewis and Clark. And that I'm a full-blooded, Yamasee chief. We call it Mika. That's the Creek word of the Native Americans, and it's chief. And so they're also filing that because on June 23rd, I think, back in 2003, the judge allowed me to speak before the court. And for the record, let the record show. Because they would tell me about the plea. I said I was forced to take this plea. I didn't want to take no plea. I was under duress.
Right.
Not getting my medication. I was being tortured.
Right.
I was sleep deprivation. I didn't know what I was.
Hey, for you people that listen, you heard because people saying why did Dr. Malachi Z. York take the plea deal? He just told you why he took the plea deal. They were torturing him. You got to keep in mind who we dealing with. We're dealing with the killer clowns here, right? We giving Raw time to come in.
Because they would tell me about the plea. I said I was forced to take this plea. I didn't want to take no plea. I was under duress.
Right.
Not getting my medication. I was being tortured.
Right.
I was sleep deprivation. I didn't know what I was signing.
Right.
And I said the lawyers knew that, and that's why he got that letter from Arroyo. He knows that all that stuff was messed up anyway. So I made a statement before the courts. I told them I am a sovereign, a retained sovereign of the Yamasee Native Americans, and our land has been confirmed of who I am. My genealogy has been confirmed that I'm a chief, and that y'all don't lie, but we have our own legal courts as recognized according to the laws of this country.
Right.
That went back and forth, and that judge, when he heard that was a different judge than Royals. When he heard that the next day, he recused himself off the case because that we presented a blueback that was signed by the then governor of Georgia, Mr. Sonny Perdue, confirmed that our tribe was registered with a registered number and everything. He didn't waste no time. They created some stuff about they used an excuse, but he actually that's why he really recused himself, because they knew that they couldn't hold me, and so they just, because I was arrested on my application when it spoke of my nationality. It has Indian. It doesn't have Negro, because they have W-I and L, right? W-I and L. W is for white, I is for Indian, and L is for Latino. And so all my forms and all my armbands and everything, the family has copies of that too. It said Native American, Indian. When they sent me to New York for my third evaluation, right? The psychiatrist there said on the document he is a Native American, African American. In other words, he's a black Indian. And then we did the research. They pulled up all the records on the Yamasee tribe, and in the documents in the 17th century, it says that the Yamasee tribe are African-looking, dark-skinned, woolly-haired Indians, but they are the indigenous people of the Hawaii. I'm bringing this up for a reason. Of the Hawaii area that included Eagle Rock Mound, all the land we was on called Wahani in our day, all up and down Putnam County from Brunswick, Georgia, all the way up to South Carolina. All of that was our land.
Okay.
When I started petitioning, and they saw I was petitioning after I had already purchased the land that we were on and was building there, that's when they panicked. And they said Native Americans are starting to win their land back, because we were linked with the Washita, who had won all the land in Louisiana from the Louisiana Purchase. And that my name is in her book. The queen of that thing mentions my name, that my grandfather was married to her grandmother. So that is a confirmation of who we are.
Great.
Seals was brought in for the purpose of getting me out and burying me so that we could not claim all of our land as sovereign Native Americans, indigenous people of that land, or Aboriginals. That's what started a lot of this mess. We didn't know this was going on behind closed doors.
Right.
And all the scheming and stuff. We thought it was really about them telling us what we could build on the land and what we could not build on the land, which we already had all the permits to do everything anyway, but they were saying we didn't. And we would show them, and they would say, here, we say, here's the permit. You said we could build our building, which we didn't have to ask them as Native Americans, but I respected it. I said, I respect the county and I respect their laws. And they just turned it against us. The whole thing, this whole case here that most people don't know, has nothing to do with no sex. Deborah could tell you, I could be a lot of things, but one thing I'm not is a pedophile.
Right.
They know that.
Yeah, I could be a whole lot of I'm not going to say I don't have a lot of women. I was a pretty good-looking guy in my day. They beat me up in here, but
you're not. Yeah, and Deborah did explain that, and how there are so many witness recantations in this.
That was all a setup. All they wanted was the land, and they get rid of me.
Right.
And so the point I'm trying to make here, so you can speak to me, is that this thing started with the Native American.
Right.
They found out Dr. York is really a Native American of African descent. They said, well, how can you be from Africa and be a Native American? Because in Georgia, the first people that left Georgia to go back to Sierra Leone and over to Liberia and Ghana left from Georgia. And they left from I forgot what they call it now, of course. But they left Georgia and went back to Africa. So we have family on both shores then. We had family that was slaves brought from Africa to America and then went back over to Africa, if you remember, and that's why it's called Monrovia, because President Monroe is the one who allowed the Liberians to make their first trip and set up the capital of Liberia from ex-slaves. Half of
Young elder. So, I don't know if y'all could hear me. If y'all can I get some thumbs up in the comments?
He spoke before the court, he spoke in Washington, and boom. Now they've just confirmed and gave us a new number for the Yamasi Muskogee, and it's on record, registered, and so they're panicking again because they're like, okay, the Native Americans can just come and claim him.
Right. I'm
on record as a chief, and they can't say I came up with this after I got arrested because there's pictures of me with my braids and my full Native American regalia on. I mean, and records, and we did the files, and people did a check, they did a blood check, they did the DNA thing, and there's nothing they can do, so they're panicking, and that's when whenever they do that, they try to heighten my condition in hopes that I would pass.
Jeez. That's
a good information, Elder. So let's get on with the cause of what we hear.
Oh, yeah.
What we're here for.
I just wanted to roll that while you wait.
So a lot of us don't know that Malachi has been ordered by the International Court of Criminal Justice to be released 5 years ago in 2019, or 4 years ago. And so what we doing today by order of the widow and her son is we putting it in the public domain so that the tribes know that what Malachi was just saying in there, they don't honor our laws, so they become belligerent to the tribes. Malachi was set up, this is provable, from all of the victims having a genetically traceable strain of herpes. Malachi had been going to the doctor for annual screenings of STDs as part of his overall health check with his doctor since the 70s. He's never had herpes. Then since he's been in prison, they've also tested him and he's tested negative for herpes. So if he don't have herpes, it's not possible for him to only have it during the time of the alleged molestations, right? So like he was saying, they was trying to get the land. They want us to surrender the land by ignorance and incompetence. So the widow told me, put it in the public domain using our oral traditions so that the tribes people know, and to put on notice the DOD, that's Department of Defense, Department of the Interior, the Secretary of the Interior, the United States Supreme Court, which is about to be defunct, the defunct U.S. Senate, and all other branches of corporate legal fictions operating under the pretense of government in violation of the great law. And in putting it in the public domain, we allow the tribes people, because ain't no big eyes and no little U's, we all need to know what's going on. And you heard Malachi say that they didn't know that they was doing all of these shenanigans behind the scene. So the International Court of Criminal Justice ordered his release based on his chief status and his diplomatic status. Malachi filed a lawsuit about maybe the year before, and I want to go over the lawsuit that I sent you first, Elder. I want to read that article. So
I got the whole court case in here too.
Yeah, that's too lengthy. That article is just enough to get us what we need, them little 2 pages of that article.
Yeah. We'll go through that. All right, let me get it.
So in the lawsuit, Malachi,
the lawsuit right here, I got the lawsuit too.
Yeah, he was asserting his jurisdiction or his their lack of jurisdiction to prosecute him as a sovereign chief on the land. We have to remember they classify us as outlaw tribes. That's the actual document. I don't want to read that yet. I want to read the newspaper article first so that they'll know that these are responses to actual litigation that's on the record in the public domain. so that the people, the tribesmen, can see for their own self, and they don't need nobody to make up their mind for them, right? So the people that's supposed to enforce your diplomatic status is the Sovereign International Court of Justice, right? And they are to determine if, as a diplomat, your diplomatic standing with the nation that you are a diplomat to is valid and that it's on file with the international court to be able to enforce your diplomatic immunity. He was never supposed to be incarcerated. He was never supposed to be removed from the land as an active chief, rebuilding, reconstituting his tribe of the Yamasee Nation. And because of this, go to the newspaper clippings I sent you, Elder, before we read this. One more. That's it. Okay, blow that up. So this is how the newspaper, if you look at the top, go scroll where they can see the top, where they can see where we got it from. This is, okay, now this is also a code. 13 is the Queen Mother's seat. Blue house, you see the heart on the 13, right? That's the love of the Queen Mother. W means women, flips M, matriarch. A is the alpha, Z is the zeta, which is the omega in Greek, right? So this is all coded anyway, based on the contents of the article.
That's right.
So we're gonna read this for the people. It's a convicted cult leader, Malachi York, files $2 billion lawsuit. York, the former head of the Edenton-based Nuwaubian group, is now serving a 135-year sentence on federal child molestation charges, right? It said the former head of Putnam County cult, now serving a 135-year sentence on child molestation charges, want $2 billion. This is what he's the financial restitution for his incarceration is $2 billion. And he wants it in 20 days. Now look at the date. This was December the 14th, 2018. Now let's scroll down. Oh, go to the next one. Okay, right here. Now, this is the cause. He say, I am not or never have been a part of this corporate state or their judicial system, right? They say York wrote this. He adds, the reason I am asking for the amount of money damages is because I think a message should be sent to everyone in North America that you should not rape, murder, pillage, or do treason, sedition, involuntary servitude, slavery, terrorism, fraud, extortion, grand theft, robbery, conspiracy, and racketeering against a Native American Moor. Right? They call him a pseudo-religious cult. It says York was the head of the United Nation of Nuwaubians, a Edenton-based group that prosecutors call a pseudo-religious cult. Can you scroll down? York, according to a federal court ruling in the case, over the years, the Nuwaubian organization's official philosophy, as well as its name, has changed several times. That's not illegal. Alternatively, finding its basis in Islamic, Hebrew, ancient Egyptian, Yamasee Indian, so they acknowledge in the Yamasee connection, and various other cultures and religions. York founded the group in Brooklyn in the 60s, moved to upstate New York, and eventually in the 90s set up a compound off Shadydale Road near Edenton that featured a pyramid replica and other Fox Egyptian relics, right? Okay, now, the reason that's important, the reason that's important for us to know that what that article say, because he's telling you that he's not part of the legal fiction. What do that mean? That means that he has no contract with the government. The corporation that's acting as the government. We talking about the United States Inc., right? And they are aware of his status as a chief on the land. This is the release order based on his diplomatic status and his recognition of who he is. I'm going to show y'all the trap when we read through the document. Can you blow it up any bigger, Elder?
Because I can get it. But it
That's
says,
not big enough to read.
Yeah, special order release. Case title, Sovereign Indigenous Nation of the Indians, Americans versus the United States. Order date,
So
11. Go ahead.
So right there is telling you that this was a claim of the nations of the Americas, which mean the tribes, versus the United States. That's the corporation. Now remember, he said he's not part of a corporation or a judicial system. Remember, I told y'all Noble Drew Ali used to be able to go send a grand sheik to go get you out of the court based on jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
This is why he's telling you that. Okay, go on and read, Elder. I'm gonna periodically cut you off to commentate.
Well, it has the inmate number there. Then it goes into inmate name, H.E. Malachi Cabina York L. Mr. York. Misnomer as Dwight D. York.
Stop.
Okay.
You see where it say misnomer?
Yeah.
That's the straw man. Yeah. This is the straw man that they are trying to accuse him of being so that they can exercise their legal fiction jurisdiction. But he's not Dwight York. His name is not Dwight York. His birth certificate just called him York. So this legal fiction that they are using as the constructed fraud to incarcerate him is a misnomer, meaning that they falsely accusing him of being a straw man when he's the sovereign man, as you will see later on in the document.
Certified sovereign man, he died HRH, Lord Dr. Malachi Cabino York, diplomat and citizen of Republic of Liberia, West Africa. Then it goes on to say over here, sovereign, the sovereign ICJ, ICC, Banking and Redemption Capital Business Park, New Cairo, Egypt. So this is here dealing with banking and commercial and all that.
Right. Now, remember where Baba had to go to Egypt in order to receive his temple priesthood rights to become the high priest on the land. Mm-hmm. That's why Egypt is mentioned up there. So when the Empress Redbird goes to get this document, she had to go get a historical record that was kept in Egypt that tell them who everybody is. They know who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
All right, let's go.
All right, so we goes into attention. Notice to all parties concerning attorneys, lawyers, judges, bankers, financial institutions, governments, nations, imperial, sovereign realms, and galactical confederations. Right? It says this is a special inmate release protocol. Summary: this is a special order of release. It is to be enforced within 7 days from the date of 11th November, so to make it 18 November 2019. Right?
So that's how long Pop's supposed to have been walking around on the street. I told him phase one not the only one that need to step up. Just like phase going hard for Baba, we all need to be going hard for Baba because this is already ordered by a competent jurisdiction to enforce diplomatic rights. Let's go.
All right. Okay. Summary. The special order of release is to be enforced within 7 days of the date of execution herein, and is based on the case hearing, administration, and judgment by U.S., the undersigning sovereign senior judge of the senior ICJ, ICC, www.icj-icc.org. It is hereby ordered the expediently release of H.E. Malachi Cabino York L. Mr. York, misnomer as Dwight York. Inmate number, we're going to read the inmate number. Certified sovereign man, H.E. HRH, Lord Dr. Malachi Z. York, Cabino York, Lord York, from U.S. Supermax Penitentiary ADX, Florence, Colorado, into custody of the ambassador of the ICC, Cherokee State, and Sabine Nation official, accompanied by Cherokee State agents. Okay. You want me to keep going? You want to break this part?
Just keep going. I'm gonna let you read all the rest of these off.
That the reinstatement of full diplomatic immunity and grants safe passage of Lord York to travel within and or exit the United States on his own free will in accordance. That all personal belongings to be in Lord York possession at all times. I mean, they owe him $500,000 because they took 500 a half large off Baba when they arrested him.
Yeah, but he's suing him for $2 billion.
Yeah, I know it. Just
they got to get right. They got to surrender all of his stuff that they seized.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's telling you. Keep going.
For the return of all currency and personal belongings seized or the equivalent immediately or no longer than 21 days to either Lord York or his nominated proxy or party or whatever, right? 5, the Lord York must be notified 24 hours prior to his release to make necessary contacts, bureau, telephone to his immediate family, related relatives for his well-being. For validation purposes, please make contacts with the sovereign ICC bureau the following email: administration@icj.icc.org, and it's signed and agreed upon by the sovereign grand general of the International Criminal Courts and a witness, Sir Paul Anthony. He's the he's one of the H. He's the head. I think that HRH stands for like the head something. But he got 2 signatures on there. The head guy.
Now,
yeah.
All of these are the actual seals of the international courts right here. Mm-hmm. This the same ones when they take that bullshit about they crashed. The Plymouth, our landmass crashed into the Plymouth. The same court. This is the same tribal jurisdiction that's being litigated. So for all of us tribesmen that's looking, mm-hmm. This is the order to release Dr. York. They've held him beyond his release date. Now we putting it in the public domain by oral tradition so that a significant cross-section of the tribes, all tribes being in unity to overthrow the corporate fiction. And also in association with the continuity of government and the reconstitution of government based on the Department of Defense and the Department of the Interior and FEMA collaboration in Raven Rock, Colorado. This is a definitive order to release Dr. York. So this is part of the blocking of this is the result of COINTELPRO. Exactly. It's the direct interference with the law of justice, the law of righteousness, and the law of the land, which is the great law. Baba said that he don't want to talk to him, but under one circumstance and under one law. That one circumstance is to restore the matriarchy, and that one law is great law. So we have to put this in the public domain and let the Nuwaubian nation know that Baba's supposed to be on the street.
That's right.
And that we have a certain amount of time to give them to release him. And whatever we do to get his release up on the backside of it, if they don't comply, they the ones is provoking military action, and we will send the National Guard in to go get him.
Facts.
Because we have the tribal jurisdictional authority, and we have received all of the rights back from the legal fiction, from the Crown of England, from the Vatican holdings, from the city-state of DC, to restore the tribes back and to reconstitute the tribes. So we have to read this to the clans people so that they'll understand the order has been given. Now we look to see action within 72 hours.
Exactly.
And upon failure to comply, then FEMA and the continuity of government operating from Raven Rock, Colorado, will be then within the jurisdictional authority to send the National Guard to extract him from the custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons because of contempt of court, violation of a release order that's competent and competent jurisdiction to enforce a diplomatic status of a diplomat, which is a crime against the people and is belligerent to all of the non-treaty tribes that they trying to force into treaties to this day. Using these legal fictions, they birth certificates, social security cards, driver's license, and state IDs. Right? So we was requested to put this in the public domain. We don't want it to be lengthy. So we had to go and review the documents for the interest of justice to the people so that the people can demand justice be served. The collective will of the people is the order to release Dr. York. This is directly from the widow herself, the grand matriarch of the planet. So y'all see the document. This is not made up. You can go to their website, and they also have a copy of the document on file for public access. Anybody that want to do follow-up, you go to the International Court of Criminal Justice, right? So, Elder, can you copy the email address for those who want to request?
You send it to me, I can put it in the link.
It's on the document.
Oh, but yeah, I get out the
yeah, so after the video, post it in there so they can go, and the website, if you see it, post that in the description so they can go look it up themselves. Malachi is being unjustly held as a prisoner of war in a time of so-called peace. He is a political prisoner, and he is a hostage on his own land in his own home. And we want to see him walk in the streets. Let the chiefs speak and raise the matriarchy. That's all we want. We're not asking for nothing unreasonable. We're only asking for fairness and justice. And in fairness and justice, the only remedy is for us to see some kind of governmental response within 72 hours. We need to hear from Dr. York. So he need to be the government need to be making sure that he calling his family with an update. That's their responsibility, as it states in the court document, that they have to give him the instructions to call his family within 24 hours of his release. So this is what we're looking for. He got family members available and waiting to call from him so that he can confirm that they have contacted him for his release. They already should have done it. Now it's in the public domain. They can no longer conceal the dirt that they doing is now exposed to all of the tribes across the land, all of the chiefs being put on notice to be aware of the activity of the legal fiction and the belligerent attack on one of the chiefs on the land. We have already agreed across the land, all of the chiefs, attack on one is an attack on all of us.
Exactly.
So now it's up to them to do what's right in the name of righteousness and produce Baba. And it's a non-negotiable directive of the clans, the collective clans. We all agree that we're doing what's right in this new era. And anybody that's belligerent to what's right and what's just is belligerent to the people and the great law and will be held accountable.
That's right.
right? So you can take us on home from here. I don't want to make
Hey,
it too
look,
long.
man, this right here was fire. This was good. Hey, we gonna be back. Hey, y'all. Islam to Rod for coming on with this right here, man. This is great news that we got the proof that they supposed to let Bob out. I mean, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no plan because the last result, they know what our last result is. Shit about to get ugly in a minute. I tell you, we starting to get agitated out here, agitated.
All of the clans are being currently mobilized by the OGs. So it is what it is, and we're gonna do what we have to do to protect our people and our family.
Exactly. And with that being said, we're gonna drop the mic and walk off stage. Islam, assalamu alaikum, shalom alaikum, hotel. Peace to you all around the universe. Free Malachi Z. York, free Larry Hoover, free all our political prisoners that's fighting on our behalf. We out.
Why do?
Why do?